And now, the 950 discussion of Across the Spiderverse.
Oh man, we saw it last week, opening weekend. All of us together, including Martin. Thank you, Jamal, for the hookup with the extraordinary seating arrangements and everything. And context: my favorite Marvel movie over every Marvel movie is the first Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse.
Into the Spider-Verse?
Into the Spider-Verse, the first one. Yeah. I still love it. It still has that energy. It's the closest one of the bunch, even more so than the Sam Raimi films, where it feels like a comic book. You're actually in a comic book.
I agree. It might star Miles Morales, but I feel like it's the most Spider-Man movie of all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Like, it's the most Spider-Man. It's the one I think that captures the feel of the comics more than any of the other movies.
Yes.
I think that, and I think part of that was when they were making the movies, they were trying to get away from the comics instead of having the comics be the driving force of it.
And with the Sony Disney thing, that's appearance, but it's also like, okay, that's a spin. That's a twist.
Yeah, I think for me, this movie definitely like trumps the rest of them. It's hard to say that, like, I still have, like, even after watching it, I'm just like, man, that movie was that good.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, will this move to the top of will this push down like my other movies in the top 5?
The first one. Yeah. It sadly did.
It pushes down the rest of them for me.
Yeah. Like Jamal, there's no hesitation.
No hesitation.
It took me a week to register it as my number one.
It didn't take a week for me. I mean, because Into the Spider-Verse was a top 5 Marvel movie for me.
It was number one for me.
So matter of fact, I have 2 Marvel movies that like push their way to the top because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 pushes way to the top.
That's top 5 for me too.
Yeah.
So I think that says a lot about Marvel in that they kind of hit a rut with this new phase of the MCU, but these 2 movies back to back were big hits for them.
I agree.
And
Much
I think
needed.
They really needed that.
Much needed too.
And as we said before, I'm really happy that this movie is doing so well because it proves that you could do animation.
Yeah.
You could do animation. You could do animation with the story. This was a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
That was animated. So I know it cost them a lot of money and it moved quickly. It told a phenomenal story.
There was never a dull moment for me.
Right.
Like there was never a moment where I was like, where either the scenery or like the story or something, it was always keeping my attention. Like there was never a moment where I'm like, all right, this scene is boring or this stretch isn't interesting.
It was solely based on the layup because the first quarter, or not the first quarter, but the first beginning, the introductions with Spider-Gwen, her backstory, Miles Morales.
That itself was like a little mini movie.
Yeah, that threw me off a bit because when we're first watching it, and this is before they even do the introductory credits and everything.
Yeah, yes.
It's just this big like 20, 30-minute thing about Spider-Gwen, and you're sitting there like, is this a Spider-Gwen movie? Like it was one of those things where you remember how like they did the Birds of Prey movie, and you're like, this is a Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah, that was really upsetting.
Yeah, so I was sitting there thinking like, are they trying to pull this on me?
See, like I was perfectly okay with like I didn't know what they were gonna do.
Right.
But I was, because I had read those comics and I liked the character and I feel that she should get her own movie.
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, if they're going to do this, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah.
If they're going to tell her story and they're going to finally give a movie. But I knew because they rushed through kind of like her origin and stuff.
Yeah.
I knew that it probably was just the introduction to everything. But I still would have been okay with like, if they want to turn this into a Spider-Gwen movie, I was okay with that because it's like, like I said, I feel like she should get the attention that she deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it shifts the focus to like, oh, that explains where she's been, kind of thing. And okay,
well, that was really cool too because it's like, okay, she couldn't leave her pocket dimension, like she couldn't leave her dimension without these people in order to have like the moment where, and then obviously spoilers, in order to have the moment where he feels betrayed by everybody. They kind of needed that separation. They kind of need that shift in focus and perspective. It's like, all right, that's her part of the story. Now we need to jump into him. Yeah, Miles. Yeah. And there's never, like I said, there's never a dull moment. I thought they did a really good thing in having his parents in the waiting room or in that woman's office
for a mission
while the fight was going on.
Yes.
And then moving that juxtaposition kept that fight from getting boring because it was almost there. It was almost to the point where I'm like, all right, when is this fight going to be over?
It became meta because it mentioned that the villain, the spot guy, that was like, oh, the villain of the week. Like, this is going to be quick and easy. That's not exactly quick and easy.
No, he is the villain of the hour.
Villain of the day, villain of the year.
Villain of the moment. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he pretty much throws everything into disarray.
A lot of the story kind of centers around him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like, what holds the whole thing together.
And one of the cool things is that his journey is essentially Miles's journey.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you did this to me. I didn't want this. And now you're telling me that I don't live up to it. Mm-hmm. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, that's the way this is going to be. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for Miles. It's like, here is the establishment telling him no. And he's like, okay, fuck you. I'm going to do this. Of course, one of them is a villain, but it's like, it's the same kind of journey that they're going on.
Yeah. Even the heroes become the villains.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it's like Star Wars. He's like, there are no absolutes.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And then, because in the first movie, it's almost like Easter egg heaven, especially when you jump through different universes. This one only focuses on one particular universe, the Spiderverse, the actual universe with the Spider-Man.
That was insane. I knew that they were some of the things that, like you can hear them coming in your head.
Yeah.
Like when they said,
like Cowboy one?
No, like, this is a small elite group. And then and he's like, oh, some small elite group.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, he's literally the only Spider-Man that wasn't included.
Yeah, well, and then, of course, when you see Spider-Gwen, you're like, okay, why is she accepted more than Miles? Miles is more technically closer to Spider-Man lore, per se. So,
well, he wasn't supposed to.
And then you find out the twist of why.
Yes.
And it's because, as he was going to allude to, he's an anomaly. He wasn't supposed to be the Spider-Man. So one Spider-Man universe suffered and doesn't have a Spider-Man because he ended up being the Spider-Man in his universe.
And that's the twist of all twists, the Empire Strikes Back moment. If you haven't seen this movie yet at this point, like, don't even bother listening to the rest of this review. Go to the nearest theater.
You need to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode because... Man, everything is essentially a spoiler for this movie.
Everything is a spoiler. Go see it.
Yeah, and I didn't.
You have time.
Yeah, I didn't see one preview. Two screencasts.
I didn't see any previews of this either. When I know I want to see something, I don't watch previews. I don't watch trailers. I don't read about it. I just go in blind. I did that with Guardians as well. I just like to go in blind. And it's just like, all right, I have a clean slate, and let me see what they do with it.
That's why technically my number one most anticipated anime is the How Do You Live, the new Ghibli film, because that's their press office. Like, no trailers. We're not ruining it. Fuck you. Watch it. It's Ghibli. The end.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, we're at that point where we know we like it. Like, trailers have gotten to the point where, spoiler heavy, of course. People will, get hyped.
Well, I think there are some things that we're going to go watch regardless of the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, I used to feel that sometimes the trailer was better than the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and sometimes
Transformers is a classic example.
Yeah, very much so. Well, I mean, that's pretty much the entire.
That Bullet Train movie that you were talking about.
The trailer was better.
I looked at the trailer and I'm like, I know this movie isn't going to be good.
I mean, it had good moments. Brad Pitt was just such a.
He's a weird action star. He's one of the weirdest action stars.
He was very. He was very disappointing in that movie.
Yeah.
It's like
because the only other like action film is World War Z, which is weird. You think you'd have like 100 of them?
No, and I can see why.
Yeah, see,
I'm okay.
Yeah, he's more better as a chill, celebrity. Home.
Yeah, skip it.
Back to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I loved his relationship with his parents.
I did too.
I liked the way they developed that, and they made it a really important part of the movie.
Yeah, the midway point.
Okay, but here's the question: why is his last name Morales?
Oh, it's their last name.
Yeah.
No, but isn't his dad's name like Jefferson Davis or something?
I don't think so.
Or maybe like because of his Hispanic background, maybe it's.
I think his
Morales
is
like
name
his
is
middle
Morales.
Name. Or I was about to say like maybe his middle name's Morales.
Am I
is
wrong
he not
here?
the father? Did we miss something?
No, he should be.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking more of a Hispanic thing, like how they would normally have a couple names. Maybe he just associates with his middle name as his last name.
I mean, I've seen people do that, but
could be, could. It's a big could be.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was one thing that I'm sure they cover it in the comics. I haven't read the comics, so I'm sure somebody will leave an angry comment.
But we accept them. At this point, we accept them.
But that was one thing that like stuck out to me. I'm like, why isn't his last name Davis? But that's a side note. I agree. I really enjoy his relationship with his parents. They have that thing where he's kind of growing.
Yeah.
You can see it too. Yeah, it's kind of noticeable.
They're doing their best. They're doing their best because they don't know he's Spider-Man.
No.
So they don't know what he's going through, but they can tell he's going through something.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
The dad is all stressed out.
Yeah. It, like Spider-Gwen comes out of nowhere. That gives them like a what moment,
Yeah.
Well, they catch them talking on a rooftop.
During a party, yeah.
Yeah, during his dad's
Yeah, they weren't
party.
very secretive about that. It's
No.
Who are you guys?
Who
are you hiding this from?
Come on.
If your parents can spot you, you're not being very good superheroes. It's like, no. Yeah, but I like how that was kind of an explanation for like what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it turns into like Miles is about to be in trouble for being late. Or no, why was he being punished?
Oh, he was grounded.
He was getting the cakes for his dad's birthday.
Yeah.
Or his dad's
Promotion.
his dad was getting promoted to
promotion
captain.
party. Yeah.
And so he was getting the cakes and he was running late from getting the cakes.
Okay, so initially.
And so the party started and his dad was doing his speech and he brought up Miles and Miles wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because he ended up getting in all sorts of fights with villains on his way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had to go in and he had to change his clothes and everything. And by the time he got the cakes up there, the message was all smeared up.
Yeah.
It said something funny.
After that confrontation with Gwen, that was one of my favorite moments when the mom gave her dialogue to Miles. It was like a realistic thing. It felt like, she's trying to figure it out. It wasn't like a lofty speech. Follow your dreams, follow your passion.
And that was that was the thing about the whole movie.
Yeah.
Is that none of it felt like throwaway.
None.
Mm-hmm.
None of it felt like, oh, we just have to fill this scene in.
Yeah, like the party scene.
Yeah, like it felt like, hey, this is an important, integral part of this movie. Like every single bit of it. It's like the stuff that was played for laughs was played for laughs, but every like emotional beat, it's like there's a point to this.
Yeah.
There's
it had a reason.
Yeah, because it's like with Guardians, it's really about family.
Yes.
This one's also about family, but it's about the families that we have and then the families that we make.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so those emotional beats, where some movies will do that, they're not able to pull it off.
Mm.
This movie pulls it off every single time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like these conversations and like you feel the emotional weight because it's like you can see what they're going through and you can see them struggling. And I think that plays off to between Gwen and Miles because they're both struggling with their parents
Right.
and being accepted. And that's one of the cool things because even Spider-Man doesn't normally deal with this because it's just Aunt May. And so he doesn't deal with like that family, that parent dynamic as much as these two are.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a new thing for the Spider-Man universe.
Breaking the algorithm, breaking the chain. Yeah.
There's so many like breaking the chain moments in this too.
Yeah.
Where, you know, all this stuff happens and, you know, it's like you said, they later on say in the movie, like, you know, the captain dies. Like, he always dies.
Or Uncle Ben,
Yeah, Captain Gwen Stacy. Yeah.
The captain dies.
Captain Stacy, yeah.
So, but she finds out that her dad is still alive because he retired.
Yeah.
So he's no longer a captain, so he doesn't die in her universe. But that's what's tripping Miles up. He's like, I got to get back because my dad's about to become captain. He's going to die.
Which, if you start to think about Miguel's argument, it kind of falls apart.
It does.
Because it's like, okay, if you're going to say that Miles is an anomaly, then why can't he save his dad?
Right. He's already an anomaly.
Yeah, it's like he's not like, he might be the one destroying the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But it's like, why can't he save his dad?
It's already destroyed.
Yeah.
Because he's an anomaly.
Yeah.
And then you got the other anomaly in that Gwen's dad retired.
Well, it's like, how can you say that there's a set path in Miles's universe if that's a canonical event?
Right.
If he's not canonical.
Right.
It's like he was never supposed to be Spider-Man. So it's like, how is it that you think that this man is going to die?
Right.
Or should die? Or it's murder at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, if you don't let him save him, that's murder, because it's like, you have no evidence that his father's death is going to actually cause the destruction of the Spider-Verse. Yeah.
And then, you could see, you could put the pieces together. The movie doesn't bash you in the head with that aspect of it, that O'Hara is just flawed and he's doing selfish gains in a weird way.
Well, he has trauma.
Yeah.
He has his own trauma.
It has to make sense for him.
And so he's like, look, man, I broke this. I broke the rule. I fell in love. I had a family. I broke the rule. And chaos happened, destruction happened, and so he's just like, no,
nobody can break rules.
You can't break any rules.
Yeah, he's trying to make sense of it.
And all these people are dying. He's just like, well, they were supposed to die.
He's so shady.
Yeah.
He's so shady because he wasn't like he was trying to save anybody of his own.
No.
He stole somebody else's life.
Yes.
He stole somebody else's life, and he caused what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, he was the cause of it, but it's like it was his own greed and selfishness in the first place that led to this. And it's like, dude, how are you going to tell these people that they can't do this when this is exactly what you did? You know, it's like, goddamn.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, what an asshole.
He was.
I mean, I get it. You don't want all these people to disappear from existence, and you don't want existence to disappear. But at the same time, it's like, have some fucking...
Have some faith.
You know, have some compassion.
Have some faith.
You know, have some faith and have some compassion.
And it's Miles' choice at the end of the day.
Well, it should be. But again, he's like, no. All these people, they all die. They all die, and they're supposed to die, so you have to let them die. And Miles is just like, no. I'm not riding with that.
No.
But he's like, no, they have to die.
Yeah, it's the best exchange in the whole film. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was rough. It was rough, and it's like you said, his argument falls apart.
It does. Yeah.
But nobody ever challenges him on it.
No.
Because all these outcomes.
Because look at the stakes. I mean, I get it. Because look at the stakes. So he's proven to them that the stakes are really, really high. You know, he's illustrated the fact that, hey, this is really, really bad.
Yes, absolutely.
But he hasn't really shown any compassion or understanding to anybody. It's like, it's like, this has to happen, but they still have to go through it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to include all these people as parts of this organization, there's a bunch of shit that you can't tell them.
Right.
It's like, we can't tell you that who's going to die. We can't tell you who you have to save. We can't tell you what's going to define you in these moments. And essentially, in order to do this, you would pretty much have to know the future.
Yeah.
Because you would pretty much have to know everyone's lives. You would have to be able to follow it from the beginning of the web to the end of the web. So you would know exactly what happens, exactly how this plays out, and exactly how it has to play out. But you can't show these people any compassion.
None whatsoever.
You can't show any of these people like any kind of like, and you're telling them, you're telling them like, hey, this person you have to let this person die. I mean, and there's enough Spider-Men in there where it's like, good Lord.
Yeah, I know.
When they go back to their dimensions, it's like, what kind of, you've added an extra weight to their minds where it's like, they're going to have to go to these dimensions and they're going to have to face the death of people that they get close to or that they love.
Yeah.
And it makes that moment at the end of Spider-Man 3 with Tom Holland, for me, it makes that moment a little bit more poignant because it's like, man, do I really want to drag these people back into this world?
Fair. Like, I've had conflicting notions with that one.
Yeah, I was pretty upset about it too.
Yeah.
But after thinking through this, I'm like, I kind of get that. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Even that character that Issa Rae played, who was kind of like Spider-Gwen's mentor, and she's like, look, there's going to be some stuff that happens, and you just got to let it happen.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, didn't you have a baby? And well, she's like, well, yeah, but we have to follow what it says to do. We go in there, we do our job, we leave. People are going to die. And so, as Miles is fighting against it, Gwen kind of gets indoctrinated to it. But when she sees Miles fighting against it, she's kind of like, you know what? Maybe he's onto something. And so she starts fighting against it too.
Well, they're literally the two, like you said, they're the two anomalies.
Yeah.
They're the two like exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
The Gwen that survived. Wow.
Yeah, and the Gwen that survived and the Spider-Man and the Spider-Man with a universe that isn't supposed to have a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Indian one, technically, his Gwen survives.
Well,
no, his dad's the police.
We'll see.
The captain survives.
The captain survives because Miles saves him.
There you go.
And that's why Miguel gets mad. He's like, no, he's supposed to die.
Yeah. Well, see, in Spider-Man lore, Captain Stacy dies, but so does Gwen.
Yes.
They both end up dying. And that's what she was saying. She's like, she's the only Gwen that becomes a Spider-Woman.
And survives, yeah.
And she's the only one that survives.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's only because Peter becomes the lizard in her universe.
And then he dies. Yep. It makes you think, and in collusion with the cliffhanger with the whole team trying to save Miles. Oh, we're in for a good time.
Well, the end of the movie basically has Spider-Gwen creating her own strike team.
Yeah.
That's going to go help Miles.
We're bringing the band back together.
Yep.
Yeah. Because they're have the fight of their lives on their hands. Because she has to find him.
Yeah.
She has to find him, and then she has to save him, not only from Miles Prowler, but from like an entire squad of
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
And the Spot dude.
Yeah. Oh, they have to deal with the Spot dude.
Yeah.
So
he's a villain of the week.
that movie might be 3 hours long because they might need the time.
Or more part 4.
That is going to be insanity.
Yeah, they might need the time to get through all of that.
They need to go at Spider-Man Noir's universe, Spider-Ham's universe.
Who knows?
All for it. Yeah.
I had the Spider-Ham comic when I was a kid.
Oh.
I wish I still had that. Those were pretty funny.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that went on in that movie. And it's like you said, Edwin, everything had a reason. Everything built on what previously happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted more.
Yeah.
You wanted more. Like that was a 2.5 hour movie, and you're just like, and they're going to cut it off.
Yeah,
it's going to cut off at some point.
They were building to the.
It had swelling moments.
Yeah, like I didn't
music
know.
got louder.
I didn't know if you guys remembered it was going to be a 2-parter.
I did not.
I did.
Yeah.
What I found strange is that when like last year they had talked about how it was going to be a 2-parter, but this year when they started making announcements for it, they didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of weird, and I'm like, okay, are they doing it? Are they not doing it? But when they started building toward that moment where like Miles wasn't escaping and nobody was coming to his rescue, I was kind of like, oh, this is where, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good point to cut it off.
Yeah.
Because here she is, she's bringing the team back together. Miles is as much trouble as he can get. So it's like, all right, what's going to happen?
Yeah. And that was kind of her story arc too, where she was kind of looking for a band to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
And she
That
ended
was
up
cute.
with her band at the end.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, from the black perspective, I know Dr. Umar didn't like it
Yeah.
because of the whole like white girl saving the black dude thing, which, I mean, I get it. The white savior trope is kind of like, ugh.
Yeah,
But-
even with the team aspect, yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't feel as bad here with Gwen, just because their story made sense.
Yeah.
Both
Because they're around this. She's a little older than him, but they're around the same age and they're going through the same thing. So it was more of a kinship
Yeah.
of like, you're the only person that can really understand
And
what
what
I'm
I'm
going
going
through.
through.
and they're
Yeah.
both anomalies, like you guys brought up, yeah.
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 Yeah, they were pretty
So-
much, it's like like the Gwen Stacy, Miles Morales support group. It's like they're literally the only two members,
Yeah.
with him being Spider-Man, because, there's never a moment where they cheapen anything
Right.
or where they don't take anything seriously.
Mm.
And that was really appreciated, because it makes this, like a movie.
Mhm.
I felt, where it's like, because people will say superhero movies or like, animated movies, or like they'll try to like make it like they'll try to like pull it off
Yeah.
to one side
Put
or
it,
the other.
put it in a little box. Like
But,
it doesn't
like-
deserve any sort of serious consideration.
But like with Guardians, I felt that watching these two movies, and especially with Across the Spiderverse, I felt like, this is a movie.
It deserves serious
Animation,
Oscar consideration.
animation is cinema,
Mhm.
and I think that this movie is like one of the top examples of that.
It's
Mhm.
and for a trilogy, for a saga, it's literally Empire Strikes Back. You end on a dour to go for the conclusion.
Yeah, and the Han Solo character is restrained.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
somber moment where the crew is looking into the galaxy, what lies behind?
Yeah,
With Leia and Luke and C-3PO and R2D2.
yeah,
And that was that moment when the team about to strike in and
yeah.
everyone
Now
else.
Princess Leia has to come in and save him.
And that tense moment with the new Growler. Oh man,
Prowler.
A
Yeah.
Prowler,
Yeah.
where he's just like staring, and that
Yeah.
they had that breather.
Oh, that music.
It,
that
yeah.
it is on. It is on. Like
Well,
Donkey
that moment
Kong.
where you think he's killed Miles,
That's it.
Mhm.
I was like, what did they just do? What did they just do?
Well, there was the whole thing. Well, he's like, he finally builds up the courage to tell his mom, like, I'm the Spider-Man. And she's like, what are you talking about? Because he's in the wrong universe.
Yeah,
He's in a universe
Which I
where
thought
he was
was-
supposed to be in, that the spider came from,
yeah.
but not his. And so when he tells his mom that, she's just like, what are you talking about, Spider-Man?
There
There's
is no Spider-Man, and that was the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I think that where we finally started to understand,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh,
He's
yeah.
in the wrong universe. And then Uncle Aaron comes in, and you're just like,
Why is he alive?
and he's
yeah.
sitting there like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
And then Uncle Aaron's just like, come on, man, what are you doing?
yeah. Like, why are you acting like that? And he knew. He's like, where are your dreads?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
he
like,
knew. He knew.
Yeah.
He knew.
yeah,
And so that whole scene, then the revelation of him being the Prowler is just like, he's here.
Yeah,
the music.
The music
Oh my
music
God.
in the movie was phenomenal.
Yeah,
It played every scene that it needed to have. The music, it had the right music.
I'm glad that Sony decided to say, hey, we're gonna take this seriously,
Yeah.
and we're gonna invest in this.
yeah.
because it
Compared to-
really
yeah.
shows.
Compared to Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they wanted like a universe with the villains.
Well, I don't think they knew what to do,
No.
Well, they wanted
Yeah.
to do the Sinister Six.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
and like I think
With
they're-
Morbius.
yeah.
Venom.
Because all they have is Spider-Man.
Right.
They don't have the license for the other Marvel characters. But like, given this, I mean, like, why can't they do like Spider-Man movies about different Spider-Man?
yeah.
Right.
Cross my fingers with Silk.
Like the Spider, I'd love to see a live-action Spider-Gwen,
Yeah, and Silk and Spider-Woman.
nor Spider-Man, Spider-Woman.
Yeah,
I thought that was an amazing character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could totally do like I'd love to see like a retro 70s Spider-Woman movie with her as the lead. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, that would be fucking awesome.
Time will tell. Time will tell. Sony finally.
They introduced a lot of. I mean, Spider-Punk is probably like everybody's favorite now.
Yeah,
but they introduced so many different possibilities.
Yeah,
so it's like you said, if Sony wanted to do, they could have done that.
Yeah,
like instead of trying to do the whole Sinister Six thing.
Well, given the amount of money that this movie's made, I wouldn't understand if they didn't pursue that kind of stuff. I'm surprised there's not more video games or more Spider-Man video games.
That's true. Surprisingly,
I'm not, because they do too well. They do too well, so it's just kind of like, all right, we're going to spread it out. Here's Spider-Man. Here's the Miles Morales pack.
Yeah,
here's 2.
Yeah,
and they always coincidentally come out around the time the movie comes out, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like let me think about my quarterly profits. Yeah. No, I'm not kidding.
They know what they're doing.
They do you can if you invest in a company, you can actually sit on their quarterly reports and like what they're planning, so you can like actually learn about stuff.
A portfolio
before.
That's where a lot of people get their information, just sitting in on those
the panels and
stockholder meetings.
Like if you get like one chair or something from like Robinhood or whatever,
they try to include you in that stuff.
They'll send you an email like, "Hey, look, they're doing their quarterly discussion now. Do you want to join?" And then just like sitting in there listening to it, it's just really interesting, the stuff that you hear.
Yeah, money's a different culture and language. It is.
So, all in all, I think this is in our top 5 for Marvel movies.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number one.
I gotta kind of agree with Jack.
I think this is my number one too.
Yeah, I gotta figure out where everything else falls.
Guardians is safe.
This one, Into the Spider-Verse, Guardians 3 are definitely
top 5.
And it's not 1A, 1B or equal.
Like not even like those are top 5.
Yeah.
I've been on and off with Winter Soldier. It's been up in 5, down to 10. Up in 5.
Well,
down to 10.
See, at first I thought that Captain America had the best like trilogy run of movies. First, after watching this Guardians, I'm like, Guardians had the best 3 movies.
I'm starting to like the first one even more now, and then the Winter Soldier.
I love that like this movie adds more to the previous 2 movies.
Yes.
Because it's like you have to deal with the fact that Gamora died. You finally get Rocket's origin. So whenever you watch,
she did not die.
She sacrificed herself.
She didn't die.
And I initially got confused with that too. Yeah,
and so
she's still alive, but she doesn't remember anything.
Well, yeah, she didn't die. She sacrificed herself in that timeline.
Yeah,
and this is Gamora from a different timeline.
Yeah.
But you still have like the memories of those 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the characters, you have that time with her.
Yeah.
In those movies, and then watching her kind of like become a part of the group a little bit again, at least to the extent where she doesn't hate everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that was cool. And then you have Rocket's story, you have Star-Lord's story, and yeah, I think over the course of the 3 movies, you see them change and grow, but you also have the stuff that happens like in Endgame and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely like I can't think like Iron Man definitely doesn't.
No.
Thor, no.
Thor's the worst.
Yeah. Thor, I don't think they knew what to do with Thor.
Well, it's
yeah.
And what I find most fascinating is the like how dedicated they are, because there's 4 freaking movies of Thor, 5 if you include the
No, they only have 4.
4, okay. Because for a hot second I thought Guardians in Love and Thunder. I'm like, wait a second, it's technically Thor, and then Hulk for the 3rd one.
Yeah. I'm glad. I liked in Ragnarok that we got like what we could from Planet Hulk.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of shoehorned Hulk in with Thor.
Yeah.
So
I think that Across the Spiderverse, Guardians
3,
Guardians 3, Homecoming. No, it would be like
No Way Home,
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Homecoming, and then Winter Soldier.
Okay. So top 5 for you for there. The first was Captain America in my top 5. Guardians 3. Homecoming, I'm not like, it's a top 10, not top 5. Endgame, like that's a top 10. Marvel's really tricky sometimes. Really tricky. First Iron Man, it's like the best one ever, but it's the first one. Where's it ranked now?
Yeah, and it's so hard because that movie was so long ago.
Yeah. And then do you include Daredevil? Do you include Punisher?
No, that's not part of the MCU.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, we really shouldn't even be including
the Spider-Man movies.
Well, the Spiderverse movies. Yeah. We can include Homecoming because that happens within happens within the Marvel universe. Yeah. But Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spiderverse, we shouldn't even be really including if we're just
for licensing.
If we're just going to do like
the MCU,
the MCU movies created by Disney
and Marvel Studios,
they wouldn't be included.
Right. Yeah.
But like because Spider-Man's a Marvel character, I include them.
I include them too.
Characters for me too.
But Sony tends to like cash in a little bit on that.
Oh yeah.
But with these two movies, I don't think it's a cash grab at all. These are like these are two of the most amazing.
It was Innocent Origins too, and there's this recent documentary coming out soon about the comeback with 2D art. And guess what? Spider-Verse technically was a catalyst for that. And in all these artists, there are Instagram and stuff like latching onto it, like all the artistic possibilities and its creativity is through the roof. Even the recent Best Picture winner. Everything All at Once literally copied Spider-Verse.
That movie sucked.
Overrated.
That movie stunk. Ugh. That was another movie where I was mad I paid for it.
Yep.
That's just me. You know what? I take that back. I think the acting in the movie was great.
It saved the movie.
Who was the lady that won Best Supporting Actress for that movie?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. That was such a terrible. She was the worst part of the movie.
She was the worst character, I would argue.
She was the worst part of the movie. And she won Best Support. I was like, oh my goodness, this is awful. I wanted to vomit all over the Oscars when I saw that. But she was not good. She was not good. She was very run of the mill. She was not good. Everybody else in that movie did a phenomenal job acting. I don't think the story did much to support it, but I thought they did a phenomenal job acting. But Jamie Lee Curtis, no, trash. Give that Oscar back.
Wow.
Give that Oscar back.
Or would you give it to the daughter then for Best Supporting?
That should have went to Angela Bassett for Black Panther.
There you go.
That should have went to Angela. That was Angela Bassett's. That was her Oscar. And they gave it to pretty much anybody in that category other than Jamie Lee Curtis. I would have been like, yeah, I can see it. When I saw Jamie Lee Curtis, I was mad.
You think it was just the hype from the movie that carried her into that?
No, I think it was. In wrestling, we kind of have like people that we call the you deserve it champions.
Yeah,
that just win just because people like them and they haven't won ever.
Yeah,
so it's just like, all right,
Michelle Yeoh for sure.
Yeah, all right, here.
Well, I think he's talking more about Jamie
Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
so I'm talking about Jamie Lee Curtis. I think is one of those you deserve it things. Like, hey, you've been doing this stuff for a long time.
Everybody loves you.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, when Leonardo DiCaprio won for
The Reverend.
For The Reverend. Yeah. So is that his best one?
No,
not even close.
Though it was just like we got to give it to you eventually.
It's like you're here.
Yeah.
We might as well do this now.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like, especially with like Leonardo DiCaprio, it's like, here you go. We never have to worry about you again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like it's like.
With Angela Bassett's cast, she technically should have won for What's Love Got to Do with It, too.
She could have won for a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, Denzel was phenomenal in Training Day. Was that his best movie?
Malcolm X is better.
He was great in Malcolm X. He was great in Man on Fire.
Man on Fire was amazing.
He was incredible in Man on Fire. That movie was a very average movie, but he carried that movie.
He did.
He did great. So it's one of those like you deserve it awards. Like here.
I mean, Denzel always delivers.
Yeah. He always delivers.
He won Best Supporting for Glory. That's right. Okay.
He won Best Supporting for Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that movie. I remember going. I don't know if I went to the theater for that movie, but I remember watching it.
He was good. He was good in that one.
He was great in that. He was great in John Q.
He was great in John Q, but I really didn't like that movie.
It was a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
The only one I don't like is Book of Eli. That's the only one. It's just
I can't get through it.
No.
I've started that movie
Yeah.
5 times.
it's a story at the end of the day.
Yeah, I couldn't get into that either.
And you can't blame Denzel for that one. Yeah.
I couldn't get into that either.
Yeah, I rewatch Deja Vu a lot.
I love that one.
Deja Vu is a
safe
good one.
soft spot with that. One of my favorite
one? What's the Florida one?
Is that there? No, that's
No.
Louisiana, New Orleans, Florida one, not Man of Fire.
Well, the Deja Vu is the one about the boat explosion
Yes.
and him falling in love with that girl.
One of my favorite Tony Scott films. Yeah.
But then there's also the Florida one that I like a lot, but I can't remember what it's called.
Dang. Is
Like,
it
but he
recent?
No, this is a while back, but like, yeah, I think. Is that the one with Eva Mendes?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where he's cheating.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. That came out around the time that he was doing that run with Man on Fire and all that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh,
not out of time.
I think it is out of time.
It might have been out of time.
It's out of time.
Yeah.
It's out of
I've only
time.
seen that one, surprisingly.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, he has a bunch of them. I mean, I like the Equalizer movies aren't that great, but he's still
Watchable.
Yeah, they're still watchable. Yeah.
I saw the second
He
one.
makes
too.
it entertaining.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the second one. I saw the first one, but he always makes his movies are always entertaining.
Absolutely.
Yeah, only Book of Eli. Like that's a trajectory. Even like Jim Carrey has like a bunch of them that suck. You'd be surprised how many movies people have that suck.
Oh yeah, everybody. I mean, they can't all be
No,
good.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like if you really look actor for actor, oh my god. But then you look at Denzel.
Like I was having
He's usually pretty good at picking out scripts that work for him.
Yeah.
I was having a discussion with my coworker, and we were talking about Adam Sandler, and we were talking about
he had a funk. He had a funk.
Oh yeah, and Will Ferrell, where it's like, you know, they had these run of movies where you're like, oh, these were great, and then they started to like kind of like drop off.
Even the ones that were successful, like with Will Ferrell, the Jackie Moon one, like that's where it kind of dipped.
Will Ferrell's movies are either great or horrible.
Yeah.
Oh no.
There's never an in between with him. I
did like his one random drama he did.
Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. Was that the one?
That one.
Stranger Than Fiction?
Yeah, that one's okay.
It was all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I won't say it was like horrendous. It's good.
No.
Talladega Nights. Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old School was cool.
Old School.
Step Brothers is an interesting one.
Step Brothers is his best.
Yeah, I agree.
Step Brothers.
That's my
is his
favorite.
best. Him and John C. Reilly together are just great.
Yeah, I like it technically better than Anchorman.
Well, then Anchorman.
Yeah.
I really love Anchorman too.
I didn't like Anchorman as much as I want to.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like I need to watch it again.
That one's a little bit too long, just a smidge too long.
I like it. It's cool, but I don't. It's not like the great thing that everybody makes it out to be to me.
Okay, I can see that. There's
you know
moments
what movie he did that I really like?
Which one?
Megamind.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah, with Brad Pitt.
I really liked him in Megamind.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a. I always wondered which came out first, Despicable Me or Megamind, because Megamind is technically a precursor.
What?
Yeah. Like, did it come before Despicable Me?
I think that's two totally different things.
It is.
Oh, but the villains, though, right? They focus on the villains. Megamind's technically the villain.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
But both are. I prefer Megamind over Despicable Me in general. Yeah. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. I don't know how we got over there.
Yeah. It's because we're getting hungry. Oh no.
Yeah, we're gonna start talking about food any second.
Well,
This is gonna transition from
to
a
campfire
Spider-Verse,
cooking in another world.
and Golden Kamui has some really funny.
This is gonna turn into like,
Hina,
all right,
Hina.
when are we gonna eat?
And with that, we wrap up another 950 Club After Hours special. Please like, subscribe, download, and share. And please comment if you like Spider-Man Across the Universe, or if you like any other Marvel favorites of yours. Please let us know. There's a million of them out there, so go crazy with that. And we do welcome any type of comment whatsoever, especially with anime and especially with pop culture. So we thank you, dear listener, for chiming in to this great After Hour special. And goodbye.